Hello, Algebros. As promised, I'm going to go over a few more complex examples of solving radical functions, radical equations. So from that solving radical equations doc, I'm going to be doing number 4. So if you want to look at that and write that down, it is the square root of 2 minus x equals x minus 2. Alright, so we are going to go ahead and solve this. And our first step is to get that radical out of the way. So it's a square root, so I need to square this side. If I square that side, I have to square this side. Now this is where you have to be precise, because you're squaring the whole side, you're not squaring the individual numbers, you're squaring the side. So what we have left here is 2 minus x, because that cancels out. And this is technically x minus 2 times x minus 2. So you have to FOIL that out, or double distribution, however you think about it. So x times x is x squared, x times negative 2 is negative 2x, negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and negative 2 times negative 2 would be positive 4. Combine your like terms. Okay. So this side equals, oops, not 2, sorry. X squared minus 4x plus 2. So probably one of the biggest mistakes would be just saying x squared minus 4 and leaving out that middle term. Alright, so now that we have that, we can see that it's a quadratic. So in order to solve quadratics, we have to set it equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract 2, and I'm going to write it under its like term, and I'm going to add x. And what I have left would be x squared minus 3x plus 2. I'm going to see if I can factor that. So a times c would be 2. My b term is negative 3. So I'm looking for factors of 2 that would add to 3, which would be 1 and 2. But they add to a negative 3 and multiply to a positive. So they're both negative. Okay. So now I have x minus 1 times x minus 2. And it's still set equal to 0. So now I solve those individual factors. And I would get x equals 1 and x equals 2. Now, anytime that we have anytime you have any solution, you need to check, but especially when there's 2, because sometimes both work, sometimes only one works, sometimes none work. Like maybe this quadratic does not cross the x-axis, so it doesn't have any solutions, any real solutions. So let's see. Okay. Alright, so checking 1 first. 2 minus 1 is 1. 1 minus 2 is negative 1. Square root of 1 is 1. And 1 does not equal negative 1. So 1 would be an extraneous solution. And let's make sure that at least one of them works. Alright, 2 minus 2 is 0, 2 minus 2 is 0, square root of 0 is 0. Yep, that works. So our solution is x equals 2. And 1 is extraneous. Meaning it is not a real solution. It is a solution, but not a real solution. Okay, so that was number 4. The next one I want to do let's do number 8. All right, so again, if we want to get that x by itself, the opposite of a cubed root is cubing. So if I cube the left, I have to cube the right, and it just so happens that both sides kind of cancel out. So we have x plus 1 equals x squared minus 5. Because of that squared term, it is a quadratic. Right, so we need to set it equal to 0. Now to factor, we're looking for factors of 6 that will subtract to give us 1, so that would be 2 and 3. They multiply to a negative, meaning 1 is positive and 1 is negative, and they add to a negative 1, so our bigger number is negative. Alright, so now we have the factors x plus 2 times x minus 3 set equal to 0, and we need to solve for each value. And that would be x equals negative 2 and x equals 3. We need to check to see if they are extraneous or not. So all right, negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. Negative 2 squared is 4. 4 minus 5 is negative 1. And the cubed root of negative 1 is negative 1. Cubed root of negative 1 is negative 1. So that's a solution. Remember, odd roots can be negative. Three squared is 9. 9 minus 5 is 4. And that's the same. So both are solutions. All right, the next one I wanted to go over with you from that document is number 9. Oops, that's supposed to be an x. We have the square root of 2 minus the square root of x equals the square root of x. So let's square both sides first. And that only cancels out the outside one. So we still have 2 minus the square root of x equals x. So we want to move that 2 over. We also don't want that negative out front over here, so I'm going to multiply the whole equation by negative 1, leaving us with the square root of x equals negative x plus 2. And then I have to square both sides again because of that root. And remember, you have to FOIL that out. So that would be positive x squared minus 4x plus 4. Yep. Okay. And then since it's quadratic, we have to set it equal to 0. So let's factor. So we're looking for factors of 4 that will add to -5, which would be -1 and -4. So now we have x minus 1 times x minus 4 equals 0. Set each factor equals to 0 and solve. So we get x equals 1 and x equals 4. Check to see if any of them are extraneous. Square root of 1 is 1. Square root of 1 is 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. So that's a solution. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 4 is 2. Oops. 2 minus 2 is 0. 0 does not equal 2. So number 4 is extraneous, so our solution is 1. All right. Let's take a look at number 13. Oh, that's not it. Okay, so this is underneath a cubed root, so the opposite of a cubed root would be cubing, so I need to cube both sides. And what's underneath the radical still stays put, so this is still squared. And 1 cubed is still 1. So at this point, you can go about it in 2 different ways. I will say that one way is easier, and I will show you that way. So see how this left side is grouped underneath a square? So you can actually undo that all at once and take the square root of both sides, leaving you with x minus 4 equals plus or minus 1. So then we can get our 2 solutions. Oh man. By solving x minus 4 equals -1 and x minus 4 equals +1. Oh, wow, I don't even know where the 5 came from, sorry. Oh, I mean, I do know, but I was adding this one in my head while I was writing the other one. Anyways, so let's check these to see if both of them work, one of them work, none of them work. Let's see. The cubed root of 3 minus 4 squared equals 1. 3 minus 4 is -1. -1 squared is 1, and the cubed root of 1 is 1. So 3 works. Let's see if 5 works. Uh, 5 minus 4 is 1. 1 squared is 1. I'm sure you could have figured this out without showing every single step, but both solutions work. Okay. All right. And the last one on the page. Nope, just kidding. That's it. That's all you need. All right. Well, happy mathing.